Have you ever experienced small, unusual changes in your body that you didn't take seriously? Maybe you brushed them off as something minor, like stress, poor sleep, or even aging. But what if those tiny warning signs were trying to tell you something much more important? Something hidden, silent, and dangerous that grows without making much noise, until it's too late. Today, I want you to pay very close attention, because we are going to explore 7 strange symptoms that could be linked to one of the most overlooked but most serious conditions, pancreatic cancer. This is not about creating fear. It's about awareness, about giving your body a voice, and about understanding when you should take those signals more seriously. Most people ignore the body's whispers until they become screams. And in the case of the pancreas, those whispers can be very subtle, almost invisible. That's why pancreatic cancer is often called the silent illness. It hides in plain sight, developing quietly, while the person continues with life as usual, working, eating, spending time with family, without realizing something dangerous is growing inside. Now, before we dive in, I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed a symptom in your body that felt strange, but you dismissed it because it didn't seem important? Maybe it was fatigue, maybe digestive changes, or even small pains that came and went. Keep that in mind as we go through this video, because you might find yourself connecting the dots in ways you never thought possible. Let's set the stage. The pancreas is a small but powerful organ that sits behind the stomach. Its job is critical. It helps digest food and regulates blood sugar. Without it, your body simply can't function properly. But because of its hidden location, when something goes wrong, it often doesn't show clear or obvious symptoms right away. Instead, the signs are scattered, subtle, and easy to mistake for something else. And this is where awareness becomes your strongest weapon. If you know what to look for, you can recognize these strange clues earlier, ask the right questions, and maybe even save your life. This video is not about making you paranoid, it's about equipping you with knowledge. Because the truth is, knowledge can be the most powerful form of prevention. So, as we begin this journey together, I want you to stay with me until the end, because every single symptom I'm about to share connects like puzzle pieces. On their own, they might not seem alarming. But together, they paint a picture that you cannot afford to ignore. The first unusual sign is something so many people brush off every day: unexplained fatigue. We live in a world where feeling tired has become normal. Long work hours, family responsibilities, lack of sleep, it's all too common. But the fatigue linked to pancreatic cancer is different. It's not the kind of tiredness that improves with rest. It's a deep, persistent exhaustion that feels like your energy has been drained, no matter how much you sleep or relax. Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling as if you haven't rested at all. That's the kind of fatigue we're talking about. And while fatigue alone could be caused by dozens of things, when combined with other symptoms, it becomes a red flag. The second strange symptom is unexpected weight loss. For many people, losing weight sounds like a positive thing. But here's the key: weight loss without trying, without dieting, without exercising more, can be a sign of something serious happening inside. In pancreatic cancer, the tumor can interfere with the way your body digests and absorbs nutrients. This means you could eat the same amount of food, or even more, and still lose weight because your body isn't processing it properly. If the pounds are dropping and you can't explain why, don't ignore it. Now, let's move to a third warning sign that often gets mistaken for simple digestive trouble: loss of appetite. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you weren't hungry because of stress or a busy day? That's common. But when your appetite disappears for days or weeks, without any clear reason, your body is telling you something. The pancreas plays a key role in digestion, so when something isn't right, it can impact the way your body signals hunger. You might even find that foods you once loved suddenly don't appeal to you anymore. That's not just a passing phase, it's a warning you shouldn't ignore. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Sometimes, these symptoms overlap. Fatigue, weight loss, and loss of appetite may all appear together, creating a pattern. But most people dismiss them as stress, a busy lifestyle, or aging. That's why awareness is so important, because the earlier you notice patterns, the earlier you can act. At this point, you might already be reflecting on your own health. You might be thinking, wait, I've been more tired lately, or I did lose some weight recently without trying. And that's exactly why you should keep watching. Because the next symptoms we're going to talk about are even more surprising and less obvious. Some of them show up in ways you would never think are connected to the pancreas. Before we continue, let me remind you, this video is not meant to diagnose. Only a medical professional can do that. But by staying until the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of the 7 strange signals that could indicate. We've already uncovered 3 unusual symptoms: persistent fatigue, unexplained weight loss, and sudden loss of appetite. Alone, they might not seem alarming. But together, they begin to reveal a deeper story. Now let's dive even further, because the next signs may surprise you. These are the clues many people overlook, yet they can silently point toward a problem in the pancreas. One of the most unexpected signals is persistent back pain. Think about it, back pain is one of the most common complaints in the world. People blame bad posture, long hours sitting, or even an uncomfortable mattress. And most of the time, that's exactly what it is. But in the case of pancreatic cancer, the pain often has a specific pattern. It can start in the upper abdomen and radiate to the back, almost like a dull ache that never truly goes away. Some people describe it as pressure rather than sharp pain. What makes it suspicious is when it doesn't improve with usual remedies, stretching, rest, or pain relievers. Instead, it lingers, slowly becoming part of your daily life. That's when the body is whispering that something deeper might be happening. The next strange symptom is changes in stool. Yes, this may not be the most comfortable topic to talk about, but it's one of the most important. The pancreas produces enzymes that help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. When the pancreas isn't working properly, your stool may become greasy, pale, or float in the toilet bowl. This happens because fat isn't being absorbed properly by your body. It might also come with a particularly strong or unusual odor. Many people ignore this, thinking it's just something they ate, but repeated changes like this should never be ignored. Your digestive system is one of the first areas where pancreatic problems reveal themselves. Now, let's talk about something you may not expect at all: jaundice. This is when your skin or the whites of your eyes take on a yellowish tone. It's caused by a buildup of bilirubin, a substance that the liver normally processes. But when a tumor in the pancreas blocks the bile duct, bilirubin levels rise, and that yellow tint appears. Often, jaundice is accompanied by dark urine and itchy skin. What makes this symptom tricky is that people might notice the changes in their eyes or skin gradually, or sometimes not at all if it's very subtle. But to medical professionals, this is one of the biggest warning signs that something may be seriously wrong with the pancreas. We've now added 3 more pieces to the puzzle: back pain, changes in stool, and jaundice. Together with fatigue, weight loss, and appetite loss, the pattern becomes much harder to ignore. But there's one last symptom, the 7th, that ties everything together, and it's one that many people mistake for something else entirely. That 7th sign is the sudden onset of diabetes, or dramatic changes in blood sugar control. The pancreas is responsible for producing insulin, which regulates blood sugar. When something interferes with its function, like a tumor, blood sugar levels can suddenly spike or drop. Imagine a person who never had issues with blood sugar before, and suddenly, they're told they have diabetes. Or someone who already has diabetes but notices their condition becoming harder to control, despite no change in diet or lifestyle. This sudden change can be a silent indicator of pancreatic problems. Now, let's pause for a moment and reflect. We've covered all 7 strange symptoms: persistent fatigue, unexplained weight loss, loss of appetite, back pain, changes in stool, jaundice, and sudden diabetes or unstable blood sugar. On their own, each one could have many other explanations: stress, poor diet, age, or unrelated health issues. But when they start appearing together, or when they linger without a clear reason, that's when it's time to take action. Here's the critical point: the pancreas doesn't usually send out loud alarms. Its symptoms are disguised as everyday problems, the kind we dismiss, ignore, or learn to live with. And that's why awareness is so powerful. By noticing these subtle signals earlier, you give yourself the chance to seek medical help before things progress. Imagine for a moment how many people out there are living their daily lives, experiencing one or more of these symptoms, and thinking nothing of it. They push through fatigue with more coffee. They accept weight loss as a good thing. They chalk up stomach changes to diet. They assume back pain is just aging. And all the while, something serious could be developing inside. That's why videos like this are so important, not to scare, but to educate. Now you might be wondering, if these symptoms can overlap with so many other conditions, how can someone really know if it's connected to the pancreas? That's exactly what we're going to explore in the next part of this video. We'll look at how these warning signs come together, the importance of seeking medical advice, and what steps you can take to protect your health. Because at the end of the day, information means nothing if it doesn't lead to action. But before we move on, let me share something important with you. Many people think that awareness only matters for those already sick. But the truth is, awareness is for everyone. By paying attention, you not only protect yourself, you also protect your loved ones. You may notice a symptom in a friend, a parent, or even a coworker that they're ignoring. And you could be the reason they seek help earlier. Sometimes, saving a life starts with a simple conversation, or even just knowing what signs to look for. So, stay with me. Because in the final part of this video, we're going to tie everything together. We'll connect the dots, show how to approach these symptoms with clarity, and most importantly, explain why knowledge and early action can make all the difference when it comes to pancreatic health. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. We've reached the final stage of this journey, and by now you understand the 7 unusual symptoms that can be connected to pancreatic cancer: unexplained fatigue, weight loss, loss of appetite, persistent back pain, changes in stool, jaundice, and sudden diabetes or unstable blood sugar. Each one on its own may seem harmless, but together, they form a picture that demands attention. Now, let's take a step back and connect all the dots. Imagine these symptoms as puzzle pieces. At first, they seem scattered, unrelated, and easy to dismiss. But when you fit them together, the image becomes clearer, and that image could be the body's way of alerting you that something is wrong. The power of awareness lies in recognizing those connections before it's too late. Here's what makes pancreatic cancer particularly challenging: it doesn't always announce itself with obvious signs in the early stages. Unlike other conditions, it hides in silence, behind symptoms that people accept as normal life. That's why so many cases are discovered late. But the truth is, you don't have to wait for symptoms to become severe before taking action. Listening to your body and noticing even small, persistent changes is the first step toward protecting your health. Think about fatigue. Almost everyone feels tired sometimes. But when exhaustion becomes constant, when it no longer improves with rest, it's not just being busy, it's your body asking for attention. Weight loss without trying might seem like a blessing to some, but if it happens without reason, it's a red flag. Loss of appetite, back pain, digestive changes, yellowing skin, or unstable blood sugar, none of these should ever be brushed aside when they persist. They're not just random inconveniences, they're signals. The important lesson here is balance. Don't panic if you have one of these symptoms. Remember, they can all be caused by other conditions, many of which are far less serious. But don't ignore them either. The key is persistence and combination. If symptoms last, if they overlap, if they don't make sense for your lifestyle, that's when it's time to act. And what does acting really mean? It means reaching out to a healthcare professional, sharing what you've noticed, and asking the right questions. Doctors have the tools to investigate, to run tests, and to rule things out. By being proactive, you give yourself a chance for clarity. Sometimes, the answer will bring relief. It might be something small, easy to manage. Other times, it may uncover something more serious. But in both cases, awareness puts you in control. This is why early detection matters. With pancreatic cancer, timing is everything. The earlier it's identified, the more options there are for treatment, and the better the outcomes. It's like catching a fire when it's just a spark, instead of waiting until the entire house is burning. And awareness is the match that lights the path to early action. Now, let me ask you something personal. How often do you listen to your body? Really listen. We live in a world that moves fast, where exhaustion, stress, and pain are considered normal. But your body is always communicating with you, it's just that most of us don't pay attention. The more you listen, the more you notice. And sometimes, noticing can save your life. Here's another perspective: awareness is not only for you, but also for the people you love. Maybe your father has been complaining about back pain for months. Maybe your sister has lost weight without trying. Maybe a friend's eyes look a little yellow, but they haven't noticed. When you know what to look for, you can make a difference in someone else's life. A gentle suggestion to get that checked out might be the push they need to seek help. And that's why this message is so important. Knowledge creates ripples. You watched this video today, and now you carry awareness that most people don't have. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. You can ignore it, or you can let it guide you, helping you pay closer attention to your own health and encouraging others to do the same. As we close, remember this: pancreatic cancer is silent, but you don't have to be. Speak up when something doesn't feel right. Ask questions. Don't ignore the whispers your body gives you. And never underestimate the power of early action. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone you care about. You never know whose life you might impact by spreading awareness. And if you want to stay informed about more health topics like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because knowledge is one of the best investments you can make in your future. Take care of yourself, listen to your body, and remember, you only get one life, one chance to protect your health. Make it count.